Hello and welcome to another edition of the LB Review podcast. As always, I'm your host Logan, and today I'm joined by Ben and Lewis. How are you doing, lads?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm all right. Ben, how's it going?
I'm good, just can't wait for the tournament to start.
In this episode, me and the lads are going to be talking about our predictions for the Euros. First of all, Lewis, how much are you looking forward to the tournament?
I'm absolutely buzzing. I cannot wait. First tournament in my lifetime. Hopefully not the last. I cannot wait.
Ben, what about you?
Again, just buzzing, not even just the Scotland games, the other games, it's a big tournament. I'm watching loads of football again, but mainly Scotland.
So you've all got your Scottish themed shirts on.
Right.
Same with me. So first of all, Ben, Scotland going into the tournament. We've talked about it before. Now the tournament's just days away. How much do you rate our chances going into it?
We're at mixed and matched. Obviously, a few friends we've played really good football. I just think we just need to finish our chances, really. Obviously, seeing the game on, was it Sunday?
Yeah.
Couldn't finish our chances whatsoever. And it's just, but football, it's just the standard from the last few years has just improved so much. And like obviously Billy Gilmore coming in, is just, he's changed that squad already.
Lewis, you more or less the same?
Yeah. I think we'll win it though. I do.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we're good.
Who's gonna lead us to winning
it?
Oh, don't even say his name.
I know.
Goodness,
Oh dear. Right, we'll get stuck into it. We're gonna go through group by group, and we'll see who advances and who goes out. First of all, we've got Group A, and I've got it on my phone here, so I'll be reading off my phone. First of all, we've got Italy, Wales, Switzerland, and Turkey. Ben, who have you got going through in this group?
Well, I've got in this order. It's Italy top in the group, Turkey, Switzerland, then Wales.
Why do you think Italy will just have too much for the other three teams in that group?
Italy's are always solid and always livable. I've always one of the best countries in any tournament. So I feel like we've got some good players again this time round. So I think they'll comfortably win every game.
Lewis, have you chosen the same group, or do you think that there'll be any changes?
Exact same. Do you feel like Italy, like Ben was saying, they've got a good squad. Turkey, they're an underdog. They could do well this tournament. And Switzerland, I just feel like they have that a little bit more quality compared to Wales.
I've actually put Wales third, not to go through, but I've put them in third over Switzerland. I just think that Bale might, if he turns up, he'll do well for Wales in the tournament. But it's a tricky one. Wales, they've got a few decent players in the rest of it. It's similar to Scotland, but Scotland's got more, I'd say, firepower in their midfield and attack. But it'll be an interesting group, definitely. I do think Italy will come out on top, and you will see them in the latter stages of the tournament. Moving on to Group B, I think another obvious winner in this group. Lewis, who have you chosen as your Group B winners, and who do you think will advance?
Well, I'm going in this order. I got Belgium at the top of the group, and then it was a tough one between Russia and Denmark, two sort of similar teams, both sort of around the same rankings and that in the world. I've gone with Russia second to go through, Denmark third, and Finland just can't really see them doing anything at the tournament. So they'll be rock bottom.
Ben, do you agree with him?
I've actually put Denmark second with Russia third. I just feel like Denmark have got some mostly quality players like Eriksen, and like that Poulsen and stuff like that. They've got some very good players in there that might just be able to edge Russia and stuff. So
I agree with you, Ben. I put Denmark second. I think that Belgium should stroll the group. I think the only difficult game will be the Denmark game, but I mean, I wouldn't rule out Russia. Sometimes they've been, at the World Cup, they had a decent run, but I just think Belgium and Denmark will have too much of them to go through. I have got Russia to go through at the knockouts though, but we'll see what happens. Moving on to Group C, I've chosen a bit of a shocker with this one. I put to Austria to top the group instead of the Netherlands. But Netherlands in second and Ukraine in third, with Macedonia fourth. I don't think Macedonia will get a point. Lewis, do you agree with me? Or do you think Netherlands will top the group?
I disagree. I think it will be Netherlands to top the group. Just they still look decent against Scotland last week, even though it was a rotated squad for them, really. But I think they've just got too much quality for teams like Ukraine and Macedonia.
I think a big miss for the Netherlands will be Van Dijk. Obviously, he's been injured all season, but they have got the firepower. But I just see, for some reason, I just think Austria will just top them on the group. Ben, do you agree with Lewis with Netherlands on top?
Definitely. I just feel like the quality they've got in different players, and obviously they're used to big competitions, and when they need to, they will perform. Obviously, a few times competitions has not been the best, but I feel like this will be a year where it could be decent anyway, and they'll easily top the group.
They've not been in the last few tournaments as well, so it's the chance for them to get back into a tournament and get into the latter stages because they have got the quality in their squads, but for some reason they've just not got in the past few years. Moving on to one of the trickier groups, Scotland's group with England, Croatia and Czech Republic. First of all, Ben, I know you've got a bold prediction here, but what is your prediction for the group?
I've got Croatia to top the group with Scotland coming in second, England third and Czech Republic fourth. I think England, all this hype around them, it's either they're going to go and win the tournament to final, or they're just going to end up bottling it straight away in the group stages, and Scotland are just going to have the bragging rights over them. So I think Scotland will get sent, England third.
Wes, are you the same, or do you think England will just
I agree. I agree. I think England are very overrated with their squad. Same with this comparison of Foden to Gaza because his haircut. Billy Gilmore's 10 times better than him. Who's the one with the Champions League winners medal?
It's true. It is
Gilmore.
true. So you're saying Billy Gilmore's a better player than Phil Foden?
100%.
Does Gilmore start for you, Lewis?
It's a tricky one because he's got players like McGinn ahead of him. But yeah, I think so. I think
Over
there's a space.
McGregor or
Probably McGregor.
bold moves? Well, McGregor's played a lot of games recently. I seen a stat on Twitter. I can't remember how many games it was, but it was an astonishing amount of games in the past few years. But I've put England on top of the group. I've put Croatia second and Scotland third. I know. I wish that we did, but I don't think that we'll get anywhere. I do think we'll go through in the knockouts, but not in first or second. But I do think England will not have too much for Croatia. I mean, they didn't in the World Cup, but some of Croatia's players are aging a wee bit. But as for the game at Wembley, Ben, you're going down to London. How much are you looking forward to that game at Wembley?
Oh, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. It's a game, probably also, it's going to be the most talk in the whole competition, probably over the final. Scotland versus England, it's going to go either two ways. It's either going to be a dull, boring England win, or Scotland are going to get right in their faces and pull something out of the bag. But I can't wait for it.
Les, as for the game next Friday, are you more or less the same? You looking forward to it?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, but the nerves are kicking in. Even though there's still 9 days, is pretty nerve-wracking, like thinking that this time next month or the month after could have beaten England and maybe gone all the way in the Euros. I never know.
If we beat England at Wembley, it'll be remembered for decades. Upon decades. But I think if we don't beat the Czech Republic in the first game, I've said it before that we won't go through, we won't finish second. Maybe just get into third if we get a result against Croatia. But the toughest game will be at Wembley. I can almost guarantee that. I think Scotland will sit in and try and hit them on the counter. But because, with the quality that England have, they'll probably punish us. But it's like England-Scotland, you never know what's going to happen. So, Ben, do you think...
I disagree with that. I would go all out at Wembley. Go for the win, because Gallagher against Serbia was unreal against Mitrovic. If he does the same to Harry Kane, we'll go on and win that game.
But it's not the way that Steve Clarke plays, though. Like, I would like to see them go out and get it, but it's not the way that Steve Clarke knows.
I think Clarke will start off, obviously, as usual, just sitting in a bit in that, but I feel even after 20-25 minutes, if he feels like he can change something. He'll get in and get him in the faces. The players are going to want it more. England are just going to think it's an easy walkover game, but with meatball in the middle, anything can happen.
I'm sure it was his interview, and he said telling the players not to be scared and to go and show what they've got. That's what we have to do. If we want to get results, we've got to go and just get in their faces.
I think, as one of you said earlier, the amount of chances we've missed in the Luxembourg game, we've got to take the chances at Wembley. We can't slip those chances up. I think that no matter what, it will be our toughest game, but I do think we'll go through into the knockouts, and we'll see who we'll face going forward. But moving on to Group E, it involves Spain, Poland, Sweden and Slovakia. Ben, who have you got going through in this group?
Spain finished top with Poland second, and then Sweden, then Slovakia. It was a tough one between Sweden and Slovakia, but I feel like Sweden are they're one of the countries that they've got a good team that know each other, and they always will play decent football. So I feel like that's what will edge it from getting to third place.
I think with Spain, there's a bit of an uncertainty with their squad because of the COVID-19 cases within it. I mean, there was another one today, but they should top that group fairly easy. I mean, the only threat I'd say would be Poland with Lewandowski up front. But as for you, Lewis, have you put more or less the same?
Yeah, I've gone Spain, Sweden second, Poland third, and Slovakia fourth.
I've went with Poland second and Sweden third. I just think that Poland will have. I mean, Sweden. Ibrahimovic did come out of retirement for this tournament, but he's now injured. So
yeah,
I just think that with Poland having him up front, he'll probably bag the goals. If he gets an opportunity, he'll score them. But moving on to Group F now. The last group, and it's arguably the trickiest to get out of if you're hungry. France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary.
Need a big roller son, actually.
I was going to make a joke there, but
did you see that on Twitter this morning?
Nah.
All right. So France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary, as I said. Ben, who have you got going through in this group?
I've got favourites for the tournament, France to finish top, and then I think Germany second, Portugal third, and obviously Hungary sitting dead last.
Don't fancy Hungary's chances?
I really don't know. That's a group of them.
Lewis, are you more or less the same?
Yeah, I've gone Portugal second, Germany third.
Yeah,
just feel like Portugal have a wee bit more quality to Germany. And I mean, if Werner plays like what he has this year, good luck to them getting out of that group.
I think that if he does hit top form, he'll do really well for Germany. But if he does what he's been doing most of the season for Chelsea, he does get a considerable amount of goals, but the chance or the offside, the amount of offsides that he got and everything. But I do think that Germany will go through as one of the third place sides as well, with Portugal just having too much for the other teams apart from France. As for the third place qualified teams, the four that out of the six that are going through, Lewis, who have you chosen to go through?
My four: Denmark, England, Poland, and Germany.
And Ben?
Lewis. No, on you go, Ben.
I've got Austria, England, Sweden, and Portugal.
As you were saying, Lewis, what you're saying?
I can't even mind what I was going to say.
I've put Russia, Scotland, Sweden, and Germany. So I think that although the Germans probably, I don't know if they'll get a result against France, maybe a draw against Portugal, then a win against Hungary. But I think is it goal difference or is it head to head in the Euros? I'm not sure. I think it'll be goal difference.
Yeah, I presume so.
But I do think the four sides will go through. So our round of 16 ties will be different because we've all got different places. The ties, I'll just run through the ties that I've got. I've got Belgium, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, France, Russia, Croatia, Poland, Spain, Scotland, England, Portugal, Austria, Sweden, and Turkey versus Denmark. So a few decent ties within there. Ben, have you got your ties there?
Yeah, I've got Belgium versus Portugal, Italy, Ukraine, France, Austria, Scotland, Poland, Spain, England, Croatia, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, Turkey, Denmark.
So for my ties, Belgium versus Germany, I've put Belgium. I think they'll just have. They're two very good sides. Germany's obviously they won the World Cup in 2014. Belgium's the number 1 ranked side in the world. Both got very, very good squads. I think that Belgium's just got Lukaku, De Bruyne, players like that who will get them through. I don't think you'll see later on. I don't think they'll get as far as what a number 1 ranked side should do, but I do think they'll beat Germany on this occasion. As for my next game, I've got Italy, Netherlands. I've put Italy to go through. I think they've got a really young and promising squad, but also experience as well. You know, you've got Donnarumma, who's what, 21, is he? 21, something like that?
Yeah, aye.
And he's already played over 100, 150 games, I think it is. So
I thought I seen it was something like almost 250 games.
Probably is. He's been playing for AC Milan for a few years now, but I think he's leaving to go to PSG, I think it was. But him, other players in the squad, they've got a couple of players from Juventus, up and coming players. I think they'll have too much for the Netherlands. As for your first 2 round of 16 games, Les, who do you think will go through?
Well, my first 2 are Belgium, Germany, and Italy, Austria. And I think Belgium, Germany, like you say, is 2 great teams, but I've got Germany to go through. Just feel like they might just edge it on the night. With De Bruyne, obviously, he was out injured in the Champions League final. I don't know if he'll be fit or not by then. If he is, then maybe Belgium do end up going through, but I do think Germany will edge it. And then Italy, Austria, just think Italy will have too much quality. I do back them to go through.
And as for your first 2 round of 16 games, who have you got to win?
I've got Belgium, Italy. I think that game, I think Italy are going to win it. I think they'll either win it by a goal, it'll be a 2-1 game, or it'll go to penalties, and I feel like Italy will win it through in. My other game, I've got France versus Scotland. I'm not very hopeful for that one if that happens, but I've got France to go through that one. Obviously, favourites for the tournament. I feel like obviously they'll get a comfortable win if they played us a 3-0, I'd say, or something like that.
Mbappe against Stephen O'Donnell.
I'm back to O'Donnell any day of the week.
So you've got, who did you say you're going through, Ben?
Italy and France.
Right. So the next 2 games I've got are France versus Russia and Croatia versus Poland. France, Russia, I've got France. I think that was an obvious one. I think France will go to the latter stages of the tournament. They're one of the favourites going into the tournament, and I think they'll do very well if they reach expectations. Croatia, Poland, I've got Croatia. I think although Poland have Lewandowski up front, I think Croatia, with the players that they've got, I think they'll just have too much for Poland in other areas. If they stop Lewandowski from scoring, then I think they'll go through. I don't think that Poland will pose a much threat to the Croatian defence. As for the next 2 ties that you've got, Ben, who have you got in your next 2 ties?
We're talking about round of 16 here, eh?
Yeah.
I've went on about my quarter-final games before there. I had Belgium to play Portugal and Belgium to win in Italy to beat Ukraine, but my next 2 games then will be France to beat Austria and Scotland to beat Poland. I feel like, obviously, Scotland, I think we'll edge Poland easily, I think we've got the players are going to want it. The players are going to be firing their belly and they're going to want it. So, but France to go through and Scotland to go through for the next 2.
Les, as for your round 16 ties, the next 2?
My next 2, France, Denmark, and Scotland, Sweden. I think France will tear Denmark apart, just that quality. And Scotland, Sweden, I'm going to back Scotland.
So you're both putting Scotland in the quarter-final?
I'd say we're 2 very similar nations in that we could both say we're both underdogs. Sweden I presume have a decent side. Don't really know who's in it, to be honest. And Scotland, we're probably the same for them. They'll not know a lot of our players, but I back ourselves to go to the quarters.
Fair enough. for my next two ties, very good two ties in my opinion. Spain versus Scotland and England versus Portugal. I think Spain, Scotland, as much as I hope that Scotland would go through to the latter stages, I don't think they'll get past Spain if it goes according to my table. Spain will just have too much firepower yet again for Scotland. Although they're in the 16 in our first tournament, even though it's not the latter stages, even getting through the groups, which we've never done before, is still a remarkable achievement. I think, Spain, if they avoid the COVID-19 problems that they've been having and get back to full fitness and a full squad, then they will have too much for Scotland in the end. England, Portugal, probably one of the ties of the round. As much as I hate England, I do think Portugal will go through though. Both very good squads, both up there with some of the favourites. But I do think that Portugal will go through. If it's at Wembley, then there's another question. I'm not sure where the games are getting held, but if it's at Wembley, then England maybe have more of a chance. But I do think Portugal just have more quality in their squad. Lewis, your next round of 16 ties?
Next to are Spain, England and Croatia, Portugal. Two very tasty ties with four great teams. But I think Spain will beat England. Not just because of obviously it's England, but I just think Spain have a little bit more quality and experience. And Croatia, Portugal, I'm going back Portugal in this one. Just feel like they'll do them.
Fair enough. Ben, what about you?
I've got Spain, England as well. I've got Croatia versus Germany. I think I was thinking England to beat Spain, but I feel like Spain will edge it. I think, like you say, if they get players back to full fitness, I feel like England I feel like there are going to be too many individuals in a team. And I feel like Spain will have that team mentality. So Spain to go through that one. I think I've got Germany to beat Croatia. Yet again, Germany are another team that have been solid also over the years. They've had multiple bad results, but they've also had some good. But I feel like they've got enough quality in the team that's just a lot more than Croatia. So I think they'll too go through.
As for the last two round of 16 ties that I've got, probably not the ties of the round, but I've got Austria, Sweden, and Turkey versus Denmark. Austria, Sweden, I've put Austria. I don't know much about the two teams apart from that Austria have David Alaba and Sabitzer, but I do think Austria will just have enough for Sweden in the end. Turkey versus Denmark, I went for Turkey. I do think Turkey will be the dark horses of the tournament. It's a very favourable pathway for them to get far in the tournament. They've done very well in qualifying. I think that if Yilmaz gets firing as he has in the league this season for Lille, I do think that Turkey may go into the latter stages of the tournament. As for your last two ties, Lewis, who have you got?
Netherlands, Poland, and Turkey, Russia. I think the Netherlands will just have too much quality for Poland on the night. I just feel like their squads, when you compare them, the Netherlands is a lot stronger. And Turkey, Russia have actually, although I say Turkey were underdogs, I've gone Russia to go through.
Oh,
I do. I don't know. Just something telling me that Russia will go through.
Fair enough. Ben, what about you?
I've got Netherlands, Sweden, and Turkey, Denmark. I've put Netherlands to go through against Sweden. I think that'll just be a comfortable win for them if that happens. Just also quality again, different players. And Turkey, Denmark, I've went for Turkey to win, just solely down to the fact I like eating one at Christmas. So only I couldn't decide between the two, so that edged it for me.
Wait, that's why you chose?
Aye.
That's quality. A round of applause for that, by the way.
Right, moving on to the quarterfinals then. We've got my first tie is Belgium versus Italy. I think that Italy will go through. I think Belgium, although they've got the firepower as mentioned before, I do think Italy's young squad will beat them and get into the semi-finals. Belgium in the last tournament, I think, as I remember, who did Belgium get knocked out? I think it was the semi-finals. Was it France?
Yeah, aye.
France. I think,
yeah, because they played England in the third place.
Yeah. So then, I do think Italy will go through against Belgium. And Belgium, probably, I do think they'll underachieve again. I don't think they'll get anywhere near, or well, not anywhere near, but near the quality that they have in the squad compared to where they should finish in the tournament. As for your first tie, Ben, who have you got and who do you go for?
Like I said earlier, when I got mixed up with it, I've got Belgium for Italy. And also, I said Italy to either win 2-1 and edge it or win on penalties and go through.
Wes, who have you got?
Mine is Germany, Italy, and I'm going with Germany to go through.
You're confident about Germany?
I know. I was ripping Werner 10 minutes ago, but
No.
I don't know. I just something about their squad is quite young.
Yeah,
and I just fancy them until we're the semi-finals.
they are a very good tournament team. They do organise themselves very well. They have obviously won the World Cup, as I said, 7 years ago, but I don't know if they've got enough firepower compared to the likes of France, Portugal, Italy, Belgium, but they have got a strong squad as well, as you said. Werner, Gnabry, also the young, is it Musiala? I probably butchered that, but yeah.
I thought he was English, but he changed his alliance.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he was brought up in England or brought up in Germany, but playing for the Bayern Munich first team this season, he must. I've seen him play a few times, but I've never properly seen him play. But he must have something about him, considering he's playing week in, week out for Bayern and now for Germany. Moving on to my second tie, I've got France versus Croatia. That was the 2018 World Cup final. I think that France yet again will have too much for Croatia. Although Croatia finished second in my group and obviously got through to the quarters, I just think that France will have too much for them. France has got a lot of firepower, which will probably beat Croatia by at least 2 or 3 goals, I think. As for your second tie in the quarters, Lewis, who have you got?
France, Scotland.
Yeah.
And this is where Scotland's road sadly ends, because France will tear us apart. But if we were to beat France, that would be unreal.
What if Shea Adams just hit one from 35 yards like James McFadden and then put us through? No?
I think you'd see me round Rosyth running.
Just
Can't
running.
say anything else.
Just running.
Just running.
Just running.
You'd see me, whatever celebration he does, I do that on repeat going round Rosyth.
How long?
2 years.
2 years. What about the game we're playing next after?
Yeah, what about the semis? What if he does it in the semis?
Then we keep going.
Ben, as for you, who's your quarterfinal?
I've got exact same France, Scotland, with France to edge it, slightly. I think Mbappe's just a bit better than Shea Adams. Or he's only just got the ability to get past O'Donnell or players like that, but I've got France to go through.
He's a very confident, apart from this game, but very confident of Scotland's defensive attribute.
I wouldn't say I'm super confident, I'm just more optimistic and hopeful.
Fair enough.
No point hopeful. There's no point getting to this tournament without being hopeful. We've got where we are now.
Exactly.
Not get there, so why not keep going?
Fair enough. My next quarterfinal is probably the tie of the round, Spain-Portugal. I do think that Portugal will go through at the semi-finals. I think, again, the Portugal, they've got Diaz, Bernardo Silva, obviously Cristiano Ronaldo there now. But I do think Portugal have enough for Spain, although they've played each other a few times in the last few tournaments. I do think that Portugal will go through and Ronaldo will probably star in that game. Ben, your third quarterfinal?
I've got World War II over again, England versus Germany. But I've got Germany to win it this time, so you've just got a quality to get past England and just so much, like I said last time, just they're a better team. So it's either that or I'd have Spain going through, actually. I had Spain going through. It's fine. World War II is over. I've got England, Germany to play Spain with Germany to beat Spain. Whoever Germany play, they're beating Spain or England.
Lewis, your quarterfinal?
Spain, Portugal as well. I think Portugal will edge it because the wee pen merchant will score late on.
Ronaldo or Fernandes?
Bruno.
Fair enough. Do you think if it was penalty to win the game that they'd put Bruno over Cristiano on it?
Nah, because Ronaldo will probably be captain. So
Fair enough. I do think
he
that
sort of gets.
I think he'd probably steal the ball and like, nah, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
But
probably he'll be injured by then, becoming the manager again. Just like for Euros.
they just can't sub on Adair this time to ping one in from 25 yards and then win the Euro.
Especially when they're playing Spain as well, because that's like their version of Scotland and England, really.
Yeah, that's true. Moving on to my next quarter final. Yeah, again, probably the wash tide around Austria Turkey. I went for Turkey to get through the semi-finals. It's a bold prediction, but I do think that the route they have, they can make a chance of getting through to the latter stages. Obviously, they've not got household names to everyone, but they've got quality in their squad like Soyuncu, Yilmaz, as I said before, and I do think they'll beat Austria on this occasion. But as for going through to the final, no chance. Lewis, your last quarter final, sorry.
The last quarterfinals, Netherlands, Russia. And I've backed Netherlands to go through to the semis to face Portugal. Just think they'll have too much quality for Russia on the day.
You've not backed
Players
Russia?
Like Depay. Nah, not backed Russia.
Oh, that's poor. That's poor from you.
Nah.
Ben, your next quarter final or your last one?
Netherlands versus Turkey, and I'm no backing the taste of the Turkey this time. I think Netherlands quality going to get them through once again. Just feel like also players like Depay, De Jong. I think they've got too much good players compared to Turkey. That they'll just ease it.
Moving on to the last four, the semi-finals. The last four teams I've got in the tournament will be Italy, France, Portugal, and Turkey. As for you, Ben, your first semi-final, who have you got?
I've got Italy versus France. I think it'll probably be the game of the tournament. I feel like it could go either way, but I've put France to win that game and go through to the final. I feel like obviously you've seen it before, the quality they've got and just how good a team they are. I feel like they'll be able to push through into the final.
Lewis, what about you for your first semi-final?
Germany, France. And I think this is where Germany's road ends. But France will just have too much quality for them on the night.
What about Timo Werner? No? Is that his?
This is where he'll miss a penalty to top of the bar, be offside 3 times and cost him the game.
Do you think it will go penalties?
Nah. He'll miss a penalty in the 90 minutes. It'll be the last kick of the game.
I think that, my semi-finals, Italy, France, same with Ben. I do think that France will go through to the final. As I said before, their team's just unbelievable. Although Italy, I've got, as I said, a young squad who have experience as well, but I do think that France will just edge that tie. As for the second semi-final I've got Portugal, Turkey. I think there's only one winner in this tie. Both Turkey have, on my odds, have defied them already. I do think that Portugal will go through by, not considerable, but at least 2 goals. As for your second semi-final list, who have you got?
Portugal, Netherlands, and I've backed Portugal. Just like I've said it before, when you compare the 2 teams on paper, you sort of back Portugal. But on the night, it could go a different way. But I do think Portugal will do it.
I'm
Get
similar
to the final.
I think France, Portugal, the same with me. Ben, you went for a different approach. Who you went for?
I've got Germany to play Netherlands, and go through. I've got Germany to go through. I feel like they're just going to make it all the way to the final. When I think they'll win every game by at least 2 goals, and they'll make it through the whole way to play France in the final anyway.
They've got a very young attack, France. The likes of Sani, who recently transferred to Bayern last season. As I mentioned before, Gnabry, Werner as Lewis's favourite.
They're German, not French.
You said France.
Did I?
You forgot Kai Havertz.
As for the final, guys, me and Lewis picked the same final, but for me, I do think that France will edge it, unlike they did a few years ago against Portugal. I do think that France will have enough to go on and win the tournament. They are probably the favourites to win, along with Portugal and England, but I do think that the French will. It'll be a close game. I think it'll go extra time and then France will win. But I do think they'll just have too much in the end. The likes of Mbappe, Kante, Benzema, if he's fit. I think he got injured last night. I'm not sure, but even Griezmann as well. Their defence is solid. I do think they'll have too much for the other teams as well. Lewis, you've had the same final as me. Are you more or less the same with a France victory?
Yep, I've backed France. Just Portugal, a good squad, but France, like you say, that young attack of Mbappe, obviously Benzema's older, but even like Griezmann's not the oldest, and I just think they'll do it.
Ben, you went for a different final. I think it was France-Germany you put. Who do you think's winning?
I had France to win, but I'm doubting myself that I went with Germany the whole way, and I feel like thinking about it, they could go on to win it, even though the quality France have got and they've been in that before. I feel like it's time for somebody else to go and win something. I feel like Germany's got. I feel like they could edge it again. I feel like the quality they've got, I think they'll go on to win it now. I'm doubting myself. I think Germany could go on to win it.
And I thought Lewis was confident with his Germany prediction. Young Werner will lead Germany to European glory.
I don't think there'll be one. I think they'll obviously have one standard, but I think it's going to be more of a team effort instead of individuals. I feel like they're just going to get the ball down, play great football, and get the goals and get it through, obviously, and do what they need to do.
Fair enough. That's our group predictions.
Can I just say one last thing though? If we somehow beat France, like I says in the quarterfinals, that pathway that I've picked means Scotland will win it. That's what I'm saying. Because we'll beat Germany and we'll beat Portugal in the final.
You were back in Germany. You were back in Germany a lot.
Aye, not against Scotland though.
If my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle, but she isn't, so that old one.
So
aye.
That's our tournament predictions done. As for individual awards, we've got top goal scorer, we've got player of the tournament, and we've got young player of the tournament. As for top goal scorer, Les, who do you think will get top goal scorer in the whole tournament?
I'm going to go probably one of the most obvious, but I'm going to go Kylian Mbappe.
Why is that?
Because he's France's main man, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
If he plays up front in a 2, then he'll score a lot of goals. But I do think Ronaldo will be up there as well. Just with me, obviously, backing him to get to the final. He always does well in your tournaments. So I can see him getting close to double figures.
This will probably be his last tournament as well. Ronaldo, he'll want to impress. I think that if he leads Portugal to another European Championship, then they'll do wonders for him when folk look back on his career. He's got 2 European Championships in the locker. So, Ben, as for your top goal scorer, who do you think will get them?
It's a bit of a tricky one also. I think if Germany's going to win, Timo Werner could be there. You've got Mbappe and Ronaldo, but then I've also got a feeling that the top goal scorer might come from a team that aren't going to win it or get to the final, like in Italy, with an easier group, or a Belgium, with Lukaku or Immobile for Italy. Having the easier group, maybe getting a lot of goals in there, even a Lewandowski in his group.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one to pick, really.
I'm stuck between 3, I think. I think that Lukaku will be up there, Mbappe, and then obviously Ronaldo. Harry Kane was maybe in with a shout if England do
I was thinking Kane.
If England do get...
I only said no because I put them out in the round of 16.
Yeah. As I was going to say, if England do get to the latter stages, I do think that Kane will be their main man to score the goals. I think that the only problem England have going forward is that they're all... It's not a problem, but they're all goal-scoring threats, whereas Kane needs a service as well, if you know what I mean. Like, they've got the likes of Foden, Mount, Sterling, Rashford, who are all capable of getting goals. Yeah, Sancho as well. And then it's not a problem, but it can become, if Kane gets a bit isolated, then they'll maybe lack not the creativity. It's difficult to say because it's different. They've got goal scoring threat. But I do think that if England do get to the last stage, it'll be Kane. But otherwise, going with my prediction, I think it'll be Mbappe. I think Mbappe will just have too much. As for young player of the tournament, Ben, who have you went for with your young player of the tournament?
I'm going to go with Kai Havertz. I feel like for Chelsea, he's been a standout player, and I feel like for his country as well, he's just going to be doing the exact same. He helped Chelsea in the final. He's going to help Germany in the final. I feel like throughout, he's just going to be a very good creative player in that team, and he'll be able to hold that team together attacking wise.
Fair enough. Lewis, who have you went for?
Sort of a tough one, but I think if Mbappe gets top goal scorer, he'll get young player of the tournament as well.
Do you not think he'll get player of the tournament if he gets top goal scorer? Or do you think he'll get even both young player and player of the year?
Probably both. But somehow Foden will manage to sneak his way in to get young player of the tournament.
No Billy Gilmore, not.
I was about to say that, Billy Gilmore.
He should really be getting over Foden, to be fair.
Just for that haircut.
It depends if he starts.
Aye.
And if your prediction is right, if we get to the quarterfinals, you're laughing yourself, Ben, but you predicted it. If Gilmore does start, then he's got every reason to.
If Gilmore starts, we'll win it. That boy can take. Well, he nearly got knocked out. He nearly got assassinated in that game. But if he'll take us away. He'll take us the whole way.
There's only one man that suits bleach blonde hair. Lyndon Dykes.
Oh, with the rainbow. Just the rainbow on there.
I think
that's a final haircut. That is a haircut for the final.
No, he needs a Scotland flag.
Yeah.
When you see,
but he's not even Scottish.
He's Australian.
He's playing for us.
That's true.
Both our strikers aren't Scottish. One's Australian.
That's what makes us so good. That's what makes us so good.
They're happy to play for a badge and they're fighting for a team, so that's all I care about.
That's fair enough. As for my young player of the year, it's a tough one. But I think it'll either be one of the French players or, as Lewis said, Foden.
That's Man City bias. You're only saying that because
no, I do think that either Foden. It's difficult.
It is very difficult.
Foden out injured after game 1 or game 2. Sorry, after the Scotland game, he'll be out injured. Declan Gallagher will put him in the stands.
There's even Jude Bellingham, Mason Mount in the England squad, but every team that there's like 8 teams who have good young players in their squad, but in the end, I think it's hard. Yeah, I do think that Foden will get it if England do get to the latter stages. But as for that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Very.
Player of the tournament, Ben. Loads of players, loads of top quality players in this tournament. Who do you think will stand out amongst the rest?
A bit stuck in this one. I feel like it could either go to a goalkeeper or a defender, really. But I think whoever wins the tournament will get the player of the tournament. A player for them will get player of the tournament. I'm a bit stuck on Germany. It could either go to the Havertz could get both or Timo Werner. But I'm not putting a name on it, but I'm thinking either one of the defenders or the goalkeeper.
I think that obviously, as I said, there's about 8 teams who could win this tournament. And they've all got top quality players. But I do think the player of the tournament will be Mbappe. I think that his quality will shine through. Other shouts: Ronaldo, even Ruben Diaz for Portugal. Some of Spain's players, Germany's players, France players, there's loads of players that it could be. Even De Bruyne, Lukaku. De Bruyne, if he's fit.
Shea Adams.
Kevin Nisbet.
You never know.
Declan Gallagher. What if Declan Gallagher keeps clean sheets and starts every game, leads us to a quarter final? Why not?
I still can't believe Northern Ireland failed to qualify because that meant Connor Salmon would be there.
Oh, Connor Shannon, didn't he? I'm upset about him leaving us.
Yeah.
No, really.
Him and his pizza at Wembley.
I couldn't be any happier if he's left Falkirk. But he'll be away swimming next week.
I wonder who he'll sign for. He's not got a club yet, has he?
I don't know how we're talking about the Euros to talking about Connor Shannon, but
What a guy!
Bring
What a
him-
guy!
Bring him to Dunfermline just to advertise a State Brady.
No,
Don't play him.
No,
Just
no.
advertise State Brady's.
just leave
Absolutely
that.
not.
I think we just end that conversation there.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
where we're
I
going to
think
end the podcast for this week, lads. We'll probably do another one throughout the Euros, but for now, this is our predictions for the European Championships starting on Friday, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers,
Come on,
guys.
Scotland!
Oh,
Oh, Scotland!